In this lecture I will be giving you an overview of how to use the Stamp Starter Kit, which is a premium accessory kit from Brother for use with your Scan and Cut to create rubber stamps. The box gives you a couple of ideas of stamp projects, and also on the back it lists the content. Not included in the box, but included via way of an activation card, are 50 bonus patterns for making stamps. Inside the box you'll also get an acrylic block, 3 stamp sheets, and also an ink pad. So basically everything that you need. I'll show you through that now. So here's our ink pad, a nice black sticky pigment ink pad. Here's the activation card. You'll need to go into your Canvas workspace and enter the special code to unlock the 50 bonus patterns. That's covered in a separate lecture. There's also the acrylic block, and obviously, as we would expect, usual notices and instructions. Handy chart also there to identify the different parts if you've never done rubber stamping before. Obviously included in different languages as well if English is not your first language. And then at the bottom of the box here are the 3 stamp sheets. They're like a flat silicone sheet, so they're not rubber, but they do have the same properties for when you're creating rubber stamps. Important to note that sheets that are on either side of each sheet, so the plastic film, needs to stay on. That's important for when we're cutting the design in our machine. So after registering or activating the bonus patterns, you can launch Canvas Workspace and access any of those designs. If you've not already signed up for an account, it's worth doing, but if you have, just log in either online or on the installed version, and then you can begin taking a look through what's been included. They're included under their own separate category or folder within the basic shapes area, as indicated by the little stamp tool. So here you can see nice frames and hearts, flowers and that kind of thing. Important to note, and it's one tip I will share with you here, there are very few sharp or acute corners. So nice soft rounded designs are best for cutting these rubber stamps. I'm going to choose this moustache. So I load it in the same way that I do any other shape, resize it if I need to. I can load up multiple shapes at once, but do leave a good gap between the designs when cutting from the rubber stamp sheets. Then I would transfer across in the same way I would usually do, either via USB or via the Wi-Fi. In this case I'm using Wi-Fi. And then I would head over to my machine to set things up. Same setup as normal. Raise the screen, turn it on. Then press the Home button followed by the OK button that appears on screen. Open the tray at the front of the machine. Drop the lever to number 1 and open the tray at the back of the machine. Finally, load the black auto blade into the blade carriage. I'll retrieve my design from the Wi-Fi. Then I'll load my mat. Now I am loading my mat first and then my stamp sheet because of the way I had this set up. However, ordinarily I would have actually loaded my stamp sheet onto the mat beforehand. Remember, leave the plastic film on the rubber stamp sheet on both sides when you load it onto your cutting mat. After making sure it's firmly stuck down, we can send the design to cut. If at this stage you wanted to do a test cut, you could do, but I know that my machine works fine with this, so I just press start. And one thing you'll notice on screen is that once it's done its auto calibration, it may update the time taken to cut, because what it's going to do is actually do several different cuts in order to pierce all the way through the material. Once that's cut, obviously you would just take your mat out in the same way as you normally do, remove the stamp from the sheet and remove the plastic film so that you're just left with the rubber. Mount this onto your acrylic block, and it's a self-clinging type of rubber, so you don't need to use any adhesive. Then ink the design with your ink pad and make an impression onto the cardstock or surface that you want to stamp onto. And there you have a beautifully stamped design, custom made with your scan and cut machine. So just a couple of tips before I leave you with this one. Do choose bold designs, always do a test cut, avoid the edges of the silicone sheet as they can snag. Check your settings if you're using a CM machine, but in this case we're fine with the auto blade. And of course, those 50 free designs don't just have to be stamps. You can use them for any other projects you like.